Welcome to Zelda Universe TV, it's Zelda time! Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Zelda News. I'm your host, Bastian, news editor for the front page of Zelda Universe. Let's get to those top stories. So our first story is a series of Wii U rumors. Now, as we get closer to E3, we're going to get a lot of rumors coming in, some of them a little more believable, some of them a little less believable, but I'm just going to relay them to you guys and let you decide for yourselves what you think. This particular set of rumors is concerning the resolution of the Wii U itself as it outputs to the television, and then the resolution of that tablet-style controller. So what the rumor says is that 720p will be the sweet spot for definition with games running Wii U controller-intensive visuals. So this is supposedly based on the version 4 development kit of the Wii U. There's apparently already a version 5 out. They suspect the version 5 is going to allow for even better definition, all the way up to 1080. It then says that the Wii U controller displays in 480p. And that the Wii U controller allows for viewing of on-TV action from another angle in the same game. You could possibly use the controller to sort of pivot around and get view into other areas in that same landscape. Third-party ports are apparently using this idea for gameplay, and that version 5 development kits is a little more powerful than version 4, but doesn't make for 1080p, but we'll just have to wait and see at E3 probably. It then says that games can benefit from a slight visual boost over the 360, Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, and may run at a higher resolution. And then more simple titles, like maybe Mii-based titles or something, may be able to run at 1080p in conjunction with the controller. So basically what these rumors are trying to say is that without the controller involved, it would be able to run at 1080p. But because the controller is involved, that some of those resources are being divided up between the two, and so on really graphically intensive games, the resolution might be down to 720. That's fine. 720 is still HD as far as I remember, and it still looks really good, so I honestly can't even tell the difference between 720 and 1080, so maybe that's just me. Our next story is about an unofficial Zelda app for the Android, and it's not a game. What it is like a background, and it's an animated version of the Gate of Time from Skyward Sword, so you can actually see it turning around, and then, you know, when you activate the Gate of Time in Skyward Sword, it has that three-dimensional looking effect where it just keeps going farther and farther back. Same kind of thing with this Android app. I have an iPhone and not an Android, so I'm kind of really jealous that we don't have something like that over on the iPhone. I mean, I know it's unofficial, but it still looks really awesome, and so I'm a little bummed. Our next story is about Cliffy B. He is the guy who is the creator of the Gears of War series, and it turns out that he's a huge Zelda fan, and when he was a kid, he was a huge Zelda fan, and he related this story in an interview about how he remembers playing the very first game, or specifically remembers a friend bringing the instruction manual to school when he was a kid, and then looking at that instruction manual and so on. And so he also says that when he was a kid, he used to get teased for being a Zelda fan. But I mean, I was a Zelda fan when I was a kid, and I never got teased about it. But maybe that's just my experience. So anyways, interesting story, worth the read. I've personally never played the Gears of War games, but now knowing that he's a Zelda fan, it kind of makes me want to play him and see if there are any Zelda-like aspects in those games. Our next story is about a magnificent piece of fan art, and it was actually created by our own staff member, Eternal Legend. She is an amazing artist, and what she did is, you may have seen those very long, highly detailed pieces of art coming out lately for Zelda games. She kind of did something kind of like that, but her take on it was a little different, because instead of just having 100 bazillion characters just kind of positioned symmetrically all around, what she did is divided it up into a lot of panels depicting various scenes from Skyward Sword. And so by doing so, she's able to show a lot of the different landscapes and some of the more intense cutscenes, and that also allows you to see all of the characters, and sometimes repeats of those same characters in various scenes. I think it's gorgeous, and I'm going to be using various of those scenes for my wallpaper, I think. But anyways, you can read about that in a link down below, and that will also take you to her DeviantArt page where you can view it in its full-size glory. And that's kind of it for this week of Zelda news. We did recently fix the tips section on our webpage. So, for instance, if you see some sort of piece of Zelda news that you'd like for us to cover over on the website or here on the Zelda news video, what you usually could have done was click on this one link that lets you submit an email to us letting us know where we can go on the web to find that piece of news so that we can cover it. Unfortunately, that hasn't been working the past couple of weeks, but I just toiled away for all of 5 minutes and fixed that, and so now, if you do stumble across any Zelda news you'd like us to cover, be sure to visit that link on the webpage. I'll have a link to that story about us fixing that and how you can go about submitting the Zelda news, and that would be really great. So that way we're on top of it with the Zelda news and able to bring it to the rest of you. So yeah, that's it for this week of Zelda news. Be sure to check out the newest Games Like Zelda episode. This is about a game that I don't think too many people have heard about, but it's extremely Zelda-like, especially A Link to the Past or Minish Cap-like. So you'll want to check that out if you've never heard of it. It's called Guardians of Paradise. And see you guys next week. Bye! Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of not Games Like Zelda, that's the wrong show.